Hi there, I'm Eitan, and welcome back to Wix Wiz. This is the next installment in our custom product page tutorial. In previous tutorials, we explained about media items and adding in our options, our price, and in the last installment, we talked about adding descriptions and our additional product info. In this part, we are going to talk about actually adding the product to the cart, which is really probably the most important part of a product page. So let's get started. Okay, so first thing we're going to need to do in order to add our product to the cart is to have a quantity for our product. So here we added all the options, but we didn't add quantity. And quantity is basically how many of that product the person is adding to their cart. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add an input. And this will be a simple text input. And I'm going to drag that and put that right under our other inputs here. And in terms of design, I'm going to try and give a design that is quite similar to these. So let's go ahead and round off the corner. First, I'm going to make this 1, and I'm going to round off the corners, give it, let's say, 12, and I'm going to give it a shadow with, let's say, I don't know, 30 and 20%. So it looks kind of similar to the other ones that we have. And then I'm going to go ahead into settings, and this is going to be a number, and the field title is going to be quantity. The placeholder will be 1. Okay, so default will be 1, and it only takes whole numbers, and it is required. Okay, so the minimum value will be 1 as well. And in terms of maximum value, we'll take a look into that later on, but for now, we're going to say that it just has no maximum value in terms of quantity. So if somebody wants 100 of this product, they'll get 100. The next thing that we're going to need in order to finalize the deal is, of course, our add to cart button. And in order to do that, let's just go ahead, let's add a button in. And since we're using Etsy as our style guide, I'm going to try and make the button look somewhat like that. So let's make this button really wide. And I am going to change the text and icon. Let's change this to add to cart. And let's do some designing. Customize design. So in terms of corners, let's make this 100. And if you're not familiar, this is a little tip. So if you want to make rounded corners like these, all you have to do is make sure that your radius here in terms of pixels is bigger than the height of your button. So if the height of my button here is probably, I don't know, 50-ish pixels, then 100 is way more than that. So then we'll get this nice rounded pill-like shape, and I can make it a little bigger like that. And in terms of the text, let's go with like Helvetica or something. Where is Helvetica? H, Helvetica Bold. Okay, something that looks a little bit more like what we have in Etsy. And we can make the font size a little bigger as well. Okay, so that's a pretty nice add to cart button, which resembles our Etsy add to cart button. And I'm just going to change the name of this button to add to cart button. Great, and now we are ready for some code. So let's zoom in, and we're going to be handling all of our add to cart functionality over here. Okay, so first of all, let's create a function that will actually do the add to cart. And what does this function need to do? So let's take a look at our add products API here for the cart. Okay, so this is the Wix Velo reference. And first thing we're going to need to do is to import cart from Wix stores. So let's go ahead and copy that over. And then I'm going to go back to the editor, and way here on top, we are going to import cart. And it's pretty impressive that this is the first thing that we're importing. And then we're going to use this cart in order to add our product. And the way we do that is first we define our products here in an array, and then we call cart.add to product. So I'm going to copy all of this code over here, and this is going to go right into our add to cart function. And now we need to adjust this for our own use case. So let's format here. And we're only going to be adding one product, the product that's on this page. So let's go ahead and get rid of all of these additional products. And you can see here that they have several examples with different options. So here we have, quantity and options choices. Here there's even an example with custom text fields. For this specific product, I didn't add in custom text fields. Maybe we'll do that in a future tutorial. So I'm going to erase this example as well. So that's from here to here. And we're just going to have one product with quantity and options. Okay, so in terms of the product ID, so this is going to be this product dot ID, and quantity will be equal to the value of our quantity, which I did not name. So let's go ahead and do that. So this input will be named quantity, and that is what will determine the quantity of our product. And I'm just going to go ahead here to the documentation and see. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that this quantity needs to be a number. Let's take a look over here. Quantity number. Okay, so I'm going to go wrap that inside of a number method just to make sure that this value comes back as a number, because sometimes the values from Wix inputs don't come back as numbers, they come back as strings, and I don't really remember. So this is a good way to just safeguard and make sure we're getting the right type of data here. And then we get down to options. Okay, so options, we need the names of our options over here. So if we go all the way back up here, then we can see where are our options. Okay, so name color, we have one option, and I think I added another option in here. Let's head back into our product. Okay, but we're going to actually need to find a way to dynamically create these values now that I'm thinking about it, because we don't know on this specific page our options might be one thing, and on another page they might be another thing. So let's over here create another constant, which will be our choices. So const choices, and this will be equal to, so let's go up here, and we can see that we have product options. So it's basically product options. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, product options, and let's do, yeah, product options. So let's go down here. Equals product options. Let me think about this for a second. This product dot product options. But we need to just break out just the names of the options. Dun, 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 dun. So, okay, so let's say, let me go take a look at the data structure again. So it isn't no, it's not an array. Let's see. Okay, so it's actually an object. It's an object with keys. Okay, so let's go ahead over here, and I'm going to say, so choices, I'm going to say is equal to, I'm going to say it's equal to an array. No, it's an object. Choices is an object. Okay, so it's going to be equal to an empty object. And we're going to say object dot keys. And then I'm going to say for this product dot product options. I'm going to put that right in there. And then dot for each. So this is going to return an array with all the keys here. And I'm going to say dot for each key. What we're going to do is we are going to, this is very interesting. For each key, I'm going to say that choices key, I'm going to put the same key into choices, and this is going to need to be equal to the value from our drop downs here. So we have option drop down, option drop down. Very interesting. Okay, so yeah, since these are going to be in the same order, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create let choice, let options. And then what I'm going to do, you know what? Change of heart. We're going to do let choices up here. And then what we're going to do is that inside of our options repeater, okay, when we change, yeah, this is a much better idea. Sorry for making you jump around like this, but let's say item, and then options drop down dot unchange, forgot this here, unchange, don't know, unchange, and then basically when we change it, what we're going to do is we're going to push all that info into choices. Okay, this is a much better this is a much better approach. Okay, and then we're going to say that where did we go? Okay, so choices, and then for this item data, what does this item data look like? That data equals options data. So we have, for each one, we have the option. Okay, let's try option.name. Yeah, I apologize to the people who don't like seeing thought process in tutorials, but I actually do like it and I find it interesting. So I'm just kind of doing this as a code along. Let me go up here. Okay, so choices, and this is going to be item data dot name, and this is going to be equal to the drop down value. So item option drop down dot value. Okay, so essentially what we're doing here, and this should be an equal, assigning it. Okay, so let me recap what we're doing. So instead of defining the choices down when we click the add to cart, what we're actually doing is that as we make selections here with the options, we are going to be adding these choices to an object that we declared up here. And that way, on the bottom, when we click add to cart, we can just use this choices object. So first I'm going to do here is I'm going to console the choices, okay, just to make sure that we have the right choices here, and console.log, of course. And here we're going to do the choices object. Excellent. And then here, I'm just going to say choices. Here, this should be choices. Okay, sorry. Excellent. And then this should be our product that we want to push. And then we add the products to the cart. And then we have our updated cart. And let's just add some confirmations here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a success message. So let's add some text in here. And then I'm just going to say here, product added to cart, exclamation point, and this I'm going to call success message. And then we're going to show that over here if we have an updated cart. So I'm going to say success message dot show, and originally it will be hidden. Okay, and let's just console.log updated cart. So we have a log of that, and we can take a look at it. And then we basically want to call this function as an event listener for our add to cart button. So on click, and then we just add to cart. Okay, so I expect that we will have errors here because I did a lot of coding and very little testing. But let's go into preview mode and check it out. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to save everything I did until now. And then I'm going to head into preview mode. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to select a color. I'm going to select a size, and I have a quantity. So this should be enough to add our product to the cart. And I'm going to click Add to Cart. And then it says Product Added to Cart. And if we see the choices over here, so we have color and size, and we actually managed to add it to cart. But I see here that line items array is 0, which is usually an indicator that we didn't really manage to add it to cart. And that is because I'm not sure why, but it is a lot better than I expected. So I might actually need to publish this and take a look at the live site. Let's just check the add to products here. Quantity value. Yeah, incomplete buyer's note line items. So this is what I was expecting to see here in line items. So the fact that we don't have line items kind of worries me. Yeah, but we did not throw any errors, which is nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to publish this, and we're going to do some testing on the live site. So I'm going to go ahead and publish. And let's go ahead and view site. And let's see if I can manage to get to this products that I'm a product. Excellent, I had it. Oh no. So, okay, here. I think my problem is that this is I'm a product. And I think that should be our product page. Excellent, wow, my lucky day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, again, select the sizes, and let's go over here into inspect and see what happens when I click the add to cart button. So moment of truth, I'm going to click add to cart, and line items still nothing. Okay, so usually when this happens, that means that the product or the Wix system, the Wix store system was expecting some additional piece of information that it didn't get. So let's head over back here and let's see if there is, okay, so it's in stock. track inventory is off anyways. Dun, dun, dun. Trying to see if there's anything that I required here that is not showing for some reason. So we have, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another log. So I'm going to go back to editor. And what I'm going to do here is, instead of logging all of the choices, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log our products. So let me do console.log products. And this we could just check in preview mode. So I'm going to go ahead into preview mode, and let's see, maybe there's a problem here with the quantity.value. I have a feeling that might be it. Let's go black, small, add to cart. And okay, so we do have a quantity. We do have our options with the choices, which is color and small. We have our product ID, but we're still getting this back as incomplete. Let's see what happens if we go to our cart. Yeah, so see, it says cart is empty, and that's because our line items array is empty. I wonder what our error is. Color. I have a feeling that it has to do with the values that are being passed to color and size. I think it's expecting something else. So maybe it's expecting black and brown and not that value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here, back to the editor. And then when we're adding in our choices, dun, 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 dun. Okay, so when we're setting up our options repeater, so the way that I set it up is that we have here label and value, but I'm actually going to set it up so that it's just that it's description and value for the label and value. So I'm just going to see if it'll work if these are both description. And let me just see if that makes any sense over here in the data. Media items, color description, value. Yeah, let's try it. Can't hurt to try. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to description. And then I'm going to go ahead and preview this. And let's change this to black and this to large. And let's try adding to cart. And line items, array of 1. So that worked. A round of applause. Yes, you got a little debugging lesson over there as well. And if we check out over here, then you can see that the product has been added to our mini cart and everything is dandy. I'm going to add 2 final touches to this flow. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an error message as well. Whoops, the cart is open now. That's annoying. How do I even close that? That's a funny bug. Okay, let's go back into preview mode. Okay, back into editor. Okay, that got rid of that. That was annoying. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in addition to our success message, before I copy that over, let's center this text. So let's do a little editing, and let's make it justified to the center. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to make an error message as well. So let's go over there and edit text. I'm going to make this one red, and I'm going to change the name of this one to error message. And for now, I'm just going to say that this error message should be, say, there was an error, please try again. Okay, so it's kind of important to add these messages just so that people don't go crazy and people know what's going on. So if there was an error here, we're going to show that. So error message dot show. And you can get more specific and try and understand what the error is and try and convey that to the user as well. But I'm just going to show the basic error message for now. And the last final touch that I like to do is that if we added the product successfully, what I want to do is I want to show the mini cart, because that's a really nice indicator to the person that their product was added, and it gives them like a nice little boost of confidence that everything is working. So in order to do that, all we need to do is say cart.show mini cart, which is pretty simple actually. So I'm going to go over here, and then right over here, we're just going to show our success message, and I'm going to say cart show mini cart. Okay, and let's go ahead and publish this, and we'll take a look at it on the live site. Okay, so we're back, and I'm going to select black and large and add to cart. And product was added, and my nice mini cart is open. One more thing that I want to do, I know I said the last thing, the previous thing was the last thing, but I just remembered that I wanted to show you how to do product validation, not product validation, input validation as well. Okay, so we really need a color, and we need large, and we need quantity. So if one of these is missing, that means that we can't add the product to cart. Okay, so let's head back into our code and see how we can add some validation. So I'm going to go back to editor, and I'm going to add the validation right here on the bottom before add to cart. So I'm just going to start off by creating a function, and I'll zoom in so you can see this all a little better. Right before add cart, I'm going to say const check validity. And here we're going to see if our inputs are valid. And luckily, these are both drop downs. So if nothing is selected, they will be, the validity will be false. So basically, what I just have to do is see if these are valid, and then I will return false. So I'm going to say let valid. This will manage our state of validity in general. And I will say, so now I kind of need to run through all of these drop downs, and I'm going to do that using the for each item repeater method. So I'm going to first select our repeater. So this is our option repeater, options repeater. And then I'm going to say for each item. And then basically this is going to loop through the items, and it's going to check their validity. So I'm going to say if the item and the item itself is option dropdown dot valid If it's not valid, then nothing will happen. So I'm going to say if not, whoops, this not has to go over here. If it's not valid, then I'm going to say valid equals false. Okay, and then at the end of this all, I'm going to return valid. And one more thing that I want to do is I just want to have some kind of indication that it's where our error is. So if it's not valid, I'm also going to change the border. So I'm going to say option drop down dot style dot border color will be equal to red. Okay, and then this will return valid. So this valid, let's start it off actually as being equal to true. Okay, so our assumption is that everything is valid, and then we go through each item and we see, okay, is this valid? Okay, did we select something from the dropdown? And if we did not, then we'll say it's false. So if everything is valid, then this will stay valid. If even one of our dropdowns is not, then this will be equal to false. And then before our add to cart, we can actually just check the validity. So I'm going to say const is valid. Let me scroll down so you can see where I'm actually writing the code. So const is valid will be equal to check validity. And then I'm going to say if not is valid, okay, so if it's not valid, then what we're going to do is two things. One, I'm going to say that our error message should say, please select all the options. And the second thing I'm going to do is show it. So our error message should be .show, and then I'm going to return. And what return will do here is it'll exit this add to cart function, and then basically we won't actually add the products to the cart. Okay, so if everything is running smoothly, let's check it out. Let's go into preview. And if we try to submit without selecting one of our options, then that option should turn red, and we should get our error message here on the bottom. Okay, I'm also going to zoom out a little bit just so we can see better. So let's just try hitting add to cart without doing anything, and you'll see, please select all the options, red and red. Okay, and if I select a certain option, then you'll see that it changes the color back, and I hit add to cart, it doesn't change the color, and I change to medium, great, and now I have everything selected, and I hit add to cart, and now we should be adding our product to cart, but I don't see that happening. So let's inspect console. Okay, so we did log the product ID. Deadline exceeded. Okay, that's weird. Let's try that one more time. Okay, I have a feeling that there's a Wix error here. Let's go back to editor. And let's see what happens if I run this all in preview mode without... Okay, so now I'm going to select everything to begin with. So black and medium, and let's try adding to cart. And let's see if that works. Okay, so product was added to cart. Okay, so that means our issue is somewhere with our validity checks. So let's head back to the editor. And let's see what's going on here. So I'm checking validity. If it's not valid, then we go through all of this. Okay, so let's add a console.log validity and is valid. Okay, so this should check what our validity is. Dun, dun, dun. Valid. Converted false. Okay. Okay, let's check that out. So I'm going to head back into preview mode. And now, okay, so first try adding to cart. No, select all options. So I select black and I select medium. And now I'm going to try, okay, so our validity was false. And now I'm going to try to add to cart again. So it's not even getting to the point of validity false. It is doing the console. Okay, so it's not getting into validity false. That basically means fetch error. Okay, so it seems to be some kind of error with the Wix server. I'm trying to figure out exactly why it's only happening when we have the validation in place. Check validity. Let's try again. Add to cart, black, small. Let's try add to cart one more time. Still not adding to cart. Black and small are our selections. Let's try, I don't know, large, brown, and oh, there we go. Now it worked. Okay, so I think we were just having some errors with Wix. There was some kind of problem with the server, which shouldn't usually happen. But yeah, we do see one little problem here that we have is this overlap between our error message and our product has been added message. So we can deal with that by going in here and if the product is not valid, then we show our error message and then we can say else error message dot hide. Okay, and that way it'll get rid of our error message if everything is okay. And we can just preview that. So here I'm just going to add to cart. No, we have an error. Not everything is valid. I make our selections and I click add to cart. You can see that it disappeared and our product got added to cart smoothly. Okay, so Wix is back up and running if you were worried. And just to recap what we did here today. So we discussed adding quantity and our add to cart button. Then we talked about the actual add to cart or add product API. And last but not least, we talked a little bit about form validation for our add to cart. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.